Heel to the Face podcast. We're joined, as always, with Brandon Clements. You can find him on Twitter at Icebreaker21. Myself, Jared, just Jared Wicks on Twitter. The reason our Twitter handles are so important because they're an integral part of the program, especially this one, because it is time for our social media Smackdown of the week. We'll start things off with our Twitter question of the week. And while it has to do with Big Cass, he was released after 2 matches with Daniel Bryan, one at Backlash and one this past Sunday at Money in the Bank. He's been released from the WWE, and one thing he has in common with a former wrestler who was released a few months ago in WWE with a little more controversial status, and that is Enzo Amore. They both came up after WrestleMania 32 onto the main roster, and now they are both former WWE superstars. So the question that I posed this week was this, and that is, if you are an independent promotion, Ring of Honor or Impact, would you try to resurrect Enzo and Cass? And actually, as I said this earlier in the week, this question's not the newest. I proposed it a few days before recording. It's actually been reported from Wrestling News that a bunch of independent promotions have thought out Enzo Amore and Big Cass to kind of come back as a tag team. Obviously, we all know that they had problems themselves, but like in the world of wrestling, that I responded to Wretched Wrestling this week when they came up with the same thing of, hey, they don't really get along. I know they don't get along when I pose this question, but, you know, money talks.
Yeah, money definitely talks. You can hate the guy you're working with, but guess what? As long as you're getting that paycheck, cashing that check, guess what? You'll do what you got to do.
So if you are Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, or the Indies, in your opinion, do you think that you should be trying to bring them in as a package deal and resurrect Enzo and Cass? And quite a split decision this week. 54% say no, 46% say yes.
Wow,
I believe the 46%, though, voted in the correct number of states, so they might win in the Electoral College. Popular vote-wise, though, it is a no. What is your opinion on bringing back Enzo and Cass together?
I voted in the small minority, 46%. I say yes. Why not? I mean, they were entertaining. I mean, to me, this sounds like something that Impact would do.
Yeah, you know, that's what I was thinking. You know, Ring of Honor, I put it out there because they're a big organization, but I'm sitting there thinking, like, I don't think Ring of Honor's going to take the bait. But Impact Wrestling loves doing this stuff. I don't know if you watched this past week the Hardys
I did. I watched. I just watched it last night. Great program, by the way.
And one thing is that it shows you just how far that TNA is willing to go and Impact Wrestling is willing to go. I mean, obviously, some of Jeff Hardy's worst moments, I mean, they threw him out there because he's Jeff Hardy.
Well, that match with Stinger was, and just a little preview, the match with Stinger, that was was a mess.
I remember watching that. I've seen that on YouTube a bunch of times. I mean, and that's Impact Wrestling for you, and that kind of shows you the kind of way that they're going to go when it comes to
they don't care.
Leeching on to some WWE talent. I mean, they made Christian their champion right away because he had that stigma or that stain of being from WWE.
And you know what? To me, this just stinks. Impact, because that's what they do. They'll bring in guys that are, they were, I wouldn't say washed up, but they the course kind of was played out in WWE, so they ran its course in WWE, and then they're like, all right, we'll go to Impact, and then they bring him in as this big star. Yeah, and that to me,
like, put the titles right on him.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, Ric Flair was doing stuff with TNA at one point, so
after he retired from WWE,
yeah, I'm like, what are you doing?
I think this could help repair the relationship, because here's the thing. So a few months ago, they obviously had their falling out, and they were not together. I mean, one was on the main roster, one was hurt, one was Cruiserweight champion while one was hurt, one then was fired right when one was coming back. So they've always had this separation, but now they have that commonality of that they're both let go. So they're both on the outside, and they're both let go for kind of similar reasons, in the fact that they're both not one wasn't voluntarily like, I love WWE and WWE loves me, but I let go. And Enzo, they both have an axe to grind, so they could call each other up and say, what do you feel about WWE? And like, yeah, WWE screwed me. No, WWE screwed me. WWE screwed us both. And
here's what this could do. This could actually, obviously we'll see how it plays out, of course, but this could be good. This could be good for both these guys, because look how it's resurrected guys like Cody Rhodes. Exactly, that was the guy I was thinking of. Guys like that. So maybe getting them to Impact. Maybe they show some skills. That maybe they work out some things, work out the kinks, and if they're entertaining and the people want the gimmick, WWE will take them back.
Yeah, and like I said, this could help them both out for the fact that they both have an axe to grind. One of them didn't quit WWE. They both were fired. They both non-voluntarily left the WWE. They both left WWE on bad terms, felt they probably got screwed. Big Cass left the door unhappy. Enzo left the door unhappy. So I think they have that similar thing going on for them, and that could help them out maybe in, teaming back up and being like, you know what? We were friends. I mean, we got along. We had a great tag team. Obviously, we had a little bit of a falling out, but now would be a great time for them to get back together. And I think if you're not just Impact, I think if you're indie wrestling, you should definitely be seeking it out. I can understand, if they don't get along, you don't want that kind of animosity in the locker room. But I mean, it's worth calling them up and getting their opinions on it at least.
Saying, hey, if we offer you X amount of dollars, will you guys come together? And hey, I'm telling you, and money talks.
I would say more than just if we offer you X amount of dollars. I would say get a hold of them and make sure that they're willing to, regardless of X amount of dollars, I would say. Say, listen, are you guys willing to work? Don't just go right there and say, listen, I know you hate each other, but I got lots of money. Call them up and say, listen, are you guys interested in working together? Let's hear that out before the money.
If they say no, that's when I'd say, hey, well, how much would it take? That's what
see, here's the thing. I would say if they say no, I wouldn't push it. If they say no, then I'd say, all right. But if they say maybe, then I'd be like, all right, we got something. Because I don't.
Even if they say no, does no mean eventually yes if the money's right? Because that can happen. We've seen.
I've gone to enough indie promotions where the money is not right if people don't want to be there. Look at Scott Hall. Look at Sandman. I mean, there's so many videos on YouTube of these people going to Jake the Snake Roberts, of these people going to indie shows, not wanting to be there, and the fans feeling gypped because they're falling asleep. I'm not saying these guys are drunks or drug addicts or they're going to, no show.
They're not really giving
but if they don't want to be there, I don't want them making a mockery of my organization. I don't want them not showing. I don't want them fighting in the back, 5 minutes before an autograph session, because you got to... I know these independent federations, they don't really have much reputation per se, but they do have a reputation to uphold. And if you're selling tickets to meet them and then they don't show up, I mean, that looks bad.
It's a bad look, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my thing. I know you were at the recent indie show with Jack Swagger. How do you think he did? Do you think he
Jack Swagger looked like he wanted to be there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's no animosity there. I mean, there's no animosity with Enzo or Big Cass.
Yeah, but sometimes some guys just want to come in for a paycheck, though.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I mean, and Jack Swagger, I think, is young enough where he's not jaded to the business yet. He's not Sandman. He's not New Jack. He's not one of these guys.
Do we see him coming back to WWE someday? I think it comes full circle. I think he's going to be. He's to me. He's
it depends on where WWE is at. I mean, I feel right now he doesn't fit too much into the WWE mold. He's more of the 2009, 2010 WWE. He's not. He's not the best wrestler in the world.
He's not bad.
Yeah,
I don't think he's that bad.
But I just feel like he's not the AJ Styles Shinsuke route that a lot of WWE stars are going.
Okay.
So I feel that, if they go that route again, or, maybe change up his story. But right now I feel he's 3 years ago WWE. He's, when they put the world title on, Mark Henry's and...
So you're thinking so this is like when Curtis Axel was Intercontinental Champion with Paul Heyman? Is that where we're going? Something a few years back?
Yeah.
Which, that's not a knock at Curtis Axel either.
And we're talking guys who are separate. I mean, Big Cass and Enzo, and that's the thing, and that's why I wouldn't push it, because of the fact that you could still bring in one of them. I would just suggest to bring in them both, and if they're not willing to work together, then to be like, all right, so what about you? Can you come? And then bring in one if that, because I don't want to burn the bridge if they both don't come, then I can't get either. I want both if they want to work together. One,
or if they're or if they're somewhat willing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you get one, it's still a draw. Because I mean, here's my thing: if I'm picking one, if I'm a promoter at this point, I think I'm taking Enzo. I think Enzo brings in more.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't think Big Cass really. I mean,
is Enzo more sleazy though? Big Cass. I mean, I bring in more, but first off, Big Cass has not got that stain on him that I think Enzo has.
I don't think Enzo really has a stain though. Do you think?
I mean, he didn't leave because he had a falling out in the locker room. He left because he had criminal charges coming on.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. You know how many times in And WWE has done this with guys like Randy Orton in the past. Like Randy Orton, if it was any other organization, they would have let Randy Orton go a long time ago. Randy Orton, and back in the day, Randy Orton had a lot of issues. And they literally said, okay, Randy, you're going to take some time off. You need to get yourself right. To me, they didn't give Enzo enough time. They just said, okay, well, this is the allegations. Yes, were they serious allegations? Absolutely. But did he ever get charged?
No.
It's to me, let it run its course. I mean, yes, this is what I do. You don't want him on TV. That's no doubt. You just you suspend him and say, okay, we're going to wait until this investigation is done, and then if we like what we see, we'll bring you back. If obviously if you get charged, bye, see you later, no doubt. But to me, WWE was quick to be the judge, jury, and executioner before he had a chance to defend himself.
I mean, Enzo was without a doubt during that tag team, the mouthpiece. He was the face of that.
He was, I was going to say, he was the entertainment. Big Cass was the muscle.
But if you're a family-friendly organization, you're a family-friendly federation, you might go the Big Cass route.
I wouldn't, because you're gonna. Here's the thing: the kids loved Enzo. You know how many of those the little hair nets they had, and all the little get up that they had from Enzo. Kids were dressing up like Enzo more. They weren't dressing up. They weren't doing anything with Big Cass. They were putting that when they gave him the Enzo hair. Like, kids were wearing the Enzo hair.
Is Enzo a little more raw now, though, you think, now in the indie feds? I haven't seen too much of him, but I would imagine a character like him, now that he's outside of WWE, is get a little more of that, I had to contain myself on WWE. Kind of like when you see Sandman or you see any of the old ECW guys at Indie Federation. I mean, they curse like sailors. They're a little more like, I'm not in WWE anymore. Vince, F WWE.
I don't think, Enzo, I think...
Because he was pretty, if you caught him outside of WWE, you caught him at an airport, TMZ, I mean, he had to bleep a lot of stuff. He was very raw. He was very much like,
if you talk to him, though, if you have him, like, when you have that agreement and say, hey, we're going to bring you in, but we want you to keep your character, but we may have some children in the audience. Can you, tailor, kind of.
Because Enzo always went off the story. I mean, you watch the thing with Corey Graves where this is the real me. So Enzo might be one of those, like, you get me, you know what I mean? You got the real me. I'm coming in here. I'm going to be myself.
But I don't think. To me,
I'm going to be making fun of this.
I think he would, for the money. I think he would do it. I think he would. Let's say if the promoter said, "Hey, can you, be yourself, but don't completely be yourself." I guess. Yeah. If the money talks, he's gonna do what he needs to do.
So the big story we took away from all this is if money talks, bring in Enzo and Big Cass, reunite them on the indie scene. I'd like to see. I just want them to get along, just because if they can get along now and we can get them back together, who knows?
Maybe we'll have a reunion.
Maybe back in WWE someday, we can get a resurrection of them on television.
I'd be okay with that.
So let's move on to our tweets of the week. I'm going to actually get things started this week. My tweet of the week, probably the first thing that I thought of, and if you're a 90s kid or a 90s person, I mean, this is probably the biggest thing, and this is how I relate to other people. When Vader died, the first thing I probably brought up was his infamous appearances on Boy Meets World. That was probably, to me, more so than his wrestling career. I'm sad to say it. I'm a big wrestling fan. I'm sad to say it. But Vader's lasting impact to me, I feel, because I wasn't a huge wrestling fan in the 90s and I started to just become a wrestling fan. His lasting impact to me will be as Frankie Stechino's dad on Boy Meets World. And Eric, the brother of Corey on Boy Meets World, sent out a tweet. And how about this? Ryan Satan, we've used him on the show. He sent out a tweet with a video from one of Vader's appearances on Boy Meets World. And Will Friedel actually subtweeted Ryan Satan. So does that mean Will Friedel is actually following wrestling people? Because he wasn't tagged in this. No, so Will Friedel said, one of the kindest person I ever met. Thank you for teaching me how to wrestle and making me look good for the cameras. Rest well, sir. R.I.P. Vader. So I just think that's kind of cool that he's sending that out there and that he's subtweeting a guy who's a wrestling Twitter account, if you will.
He's a wrestling.
So the fact that he hasn't, even though Boy Meets World went off the air, I want to say like 18 years ago.
Been off the air a long time.
Been off the air a long time. Yep. Vader, not just Vader's lasting impact, but the fact that Will Friedel is still very, aware of the fact. Because, I mean, there's probably lots of people who worked on Boy Meets World. You tell them Vader died, and they're probably like, who? Oh, remember that time in 1996 we had the wrestler on? You're like, oh, okay.
That guy, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, we work with a lot of people. I mean, there's probably a custodian at your job that 20 years from now, nobody, they're going to be like, remember that custodian? You're going to be like, no.
No,
you know
I'm
what I
not
mean?
sure. Yeah.
Because he was an integral part of who you worked with. The Boy Meets World cast, obviously, if Ryder Strong, who played, who'd he play?
Corey.
No, not Corey.
Sean.
Sean.
That's right. Yeah.
Sean, Corey, Topanga.
What's Corey's?
Savage.
Ben Savage.
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, so Ben Savage, obviously one of the main, if any of those people died, obviously that's a bigger deal. But a bit character, Vader was on like 4 episodes.
It's still cool.
Yeah, but the fact that
who in the 90s didn't watch Boy Meets World, by the way? I did.
It was
a good show.
It was, yeah.
What was it on? It was on ABC.
It
was on TJF.
Was it on TGIF? I remember it was on ABC, but
I think it was.
I always obviously wonder to myself, was that ever a TGIF show?
I think it might have been.
Because I remember the TGIF, but I remember Family Matters for sure, Step by Step for sure, Sabrina the Teenage Witch for sure.
I think it was TGIF. I really think it was.
But so just the fact that one of the people that was on the show remembers somebody who was on the show, obviously, I'm not saying he doesn't remember, but the fact that he subtweeted somebody who is a wrestling personality,
he might be a wrestling fan, though.
Yeah, the fact that maybe and the fact that he didn't just say, R.I.P. to a great thing, but you know what I mean? He mentioned wrestling in it as well, teaching me how to wrestle.
He's probably a wrestling fan then.
Yeah. So, and that's cool to know. One of my favorite people from the 90s, what is he doing? That's a question I always have. Where has he been? Wilfredo. I remember.
By the way, his picture, great beard. By the way,
that picture was from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, that's a great beard. I wonder if he has it now. I don't know. I haven't seen him in 20 years.
Here's a current picture of him. What is he like? How old is he? What is he like? He's probably like 45 now.
Yeah, he's probably in his early 40s.
Because he was Corey's older brother. We're looking at pictures of him now here on the podcast, and yeah, it's just strange because unlike some of the other ones we've seen them since, obviously Ryder Strong, he's been in some movies. Yeah. Nobody's done anything grand, I want to say. Obviously, they did the Girl Meets World. You know what I mean? Yep. But it's just with like him, he seems like he fell right off the map.
Maybe he just wanted to be a regular dude. Maybe he didn't want to be in the limelight as much. Maybe he's working a regular 9-to-5 job. Who knows? I
don't think he's doing that.
You don't think so?
I think he's an actor.
You think he's still acting?
Actor with my voice and sometimes my face.
Huh. Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
You always wonder what these people are doing.
Maybe I was gonna say maybe he's like a back, like if you have like a big like a cartoon or like the Disney stuff. Maybe he's not one of the main voices. Maybe he's like it might be he might be in a scene. He still probably make decent money doing it, but.
All right, so without further ado, without dragging that on, let's get to your tweet of the week.
So my tweet of the week is my tweet. So I don't know if this is a first or not, but my tweet was I was watching wrestling, on Raw this past week, and my tweet was, in what world is Jinder over Gable? It makes absolutely no sense. I put WWE creative foul. To me, push Gable, like push him.
You don't like Jinder?
No, I'm over Jinder. We talked about Jinder a lot last year, with the India tour and all that. Gable is another guy that was. To me, he's on fire in NXT. Him and Jason Jordan were a great team down there. I think Gable is a great singles competitor. They're just not pushing him. I think he's getting the Daniel Bryan syndrome before Daniel Bryan became the big deal that he ended up becoming. Because Daniel Bryan was he's always been technically gifted in the ring, but for a while he wasn't getting what he deserved. I think Gable eventually is going to get what he deserves. I think he's going to have a title in the next couple of years.
You think so?
Yes, I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be a heavy, the heavyweight Universal Champion or anything like that. But I think he's Intercontinental U.S. title material for sure.
No, I'll give you. I thought we were. No,
I won't say world title. If he is, I'm rooting for him. But U.S. title, IC title.
All right, so that's going to do it for our social media Smackdown. That was our tweets of the week and our Twitter question of the week. Make sure you're always following us on Twitter so you can participate with our tweets of the week and our Twitter question of the week. And I would suggest you put out something interesting, and maybe we'll make you our Twitter or tweet of the week. Hey, maybe we'll make, if you send out something good as well, maybe we'll make it our Twitter question of the week. Who knows? Yeah. That's how social media works, folks. We love to be a part of it. Hopefully you follow the show at Heel to the Face, and on YouTube, make sure to subscribe as well, as that's going to wrap up another week's edition of the program. For Brandon the Icebreaker Clements, you can find him on Twitter at Icebreaker21. Myself, Jared Wicks. Money in the Bank is in the past, Extreme Rules is in the future, and we'll be back with you next week for another edition of the program. From our main program to our social media Smackdown, we're going to be right here from Syracuse, New York. We hope you can join us then. Until next week, we'll see you.